Live video starting, and we need to share. The live video starting. Does anyone really care? Ooh, ah, ah, ah. Eh. Turn the phone, just volume down.
You almost sang that.
I know, it would have been great.
Turn the volume down. I like how there are subtitles.
Oh yeah,
And it's just
ooh, ah. I think I was singing it in the tune of "We need the funk, gotta have the funk." Ow.
I picked up on that.
Ooh, ah.
Maybe that's a little tease for a hypothetical song.
Nope. All right, here we go. We got to start recording. That might be helpful. All right, let me pull up ye old agenda, and we can kick it back to the old school, because I'm an old fool. Name the song.
That's so uncool.
Oh, that just hurt my feelings. All right, here we go.
There it is. I.e. our show.
Won't hurt your feelings. All right, ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, Matt.
Kenny.
So it's been a minute since we did a show.
Bunch of minutes.
And the good news is, if you haven't heard our show in a while, whether it's out of your laziness, but more than likely our laziness, if you subscribed to us on multiple channels, you'll be able to get notifications as to when we go live on the air. We're available on Google Podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio.
If you were to tell people to at least subscribe to one, which one would be the one to do?
Well, I don't know. It depends what your podcast method of choice is.
Which one supports us the most? Wink, wink.
Which one slides us the money under the table?
The most.
I got to actually check that out. I got to see. Really, our advertisers are what supply us most of our income.
Okay.
Because, no one buys merch as much as I ask them to.
Yeah.
We're getting off topic. Anyway, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify. We're also on YouTube. Just search for Two Moofs, TOOMOOFS, and you'll get. Make sure to click push notification. Do you have push notifications on your phone?
Yeah.
For our show?
I also have push notifications.
Push. All right.
Push,
anyway,
there
guys,
it is. Thought you knew.
Enjoy the show. Oh, it's on that window? God dang it.
Ladies and gentlemen, there are seven acknowledged wonders of the world. You are about to witness the eighth.
Maybe we should start doing these earlier shows.
Why?
Because we got a couple of people. We got Lindsay and we got Megan. I don't know why I called her Megan. It's her middle name, Hope. Lindsay and Hope chiming in. It's like,
I almost thought we had four people.
Yeah.
Megan, Lindsay, Hope, and Nick.
Yeah, and then it's like, they finally made it live. So I think they appreciated the fact that it's they're catching the live episode.
We've been live.
Yeah, but I think because it's earlier, they're able to catch it a lot easier than when we do it later. Hey, guys, it is Two Moofs episode 65. We're live. 65. Kenny.
Matt.
And we want to thank you guys for joining us. You're already getting compliments on the tie. Lindsay's digging the tie that Matt's got on.
My paralegal got me this tie for either Boss's Day, my birthday, or Christmas. I don't recall. But this tie is one of my favorites, and it's got little microphones on it, podcast microphones. Have you not seen this?
No, I again, playing the whole improv game where it's like,
you don't have to lie. You don't have to lie. You could say, I know, man, I saw it. It was really nice.
Yeah, that ends the conversation. So I was trying to keep the ball moving, as the kids say.
By lying.
Anyway, well, thank you guys for joining in. We know it's been a while, but you could always interact with us. We are on Facebook Live, so check us out there. You can also email us, show@twomoofs.com. Text us, 347-MY-MOOFS, MYMOOFS. And, of course, you could participate on our Facebook page. Speaking of our Facebook page, Facebook Nick chiming in, cracking a little fun at you in your propensity for hitting on some bartenders.
It's not a propensity like I seek this. It's just I have no shame in hitting on a bartender.
That is true, but he posted this TikTok video of the smoothest way to pick up a bartender. So I'm going to play it for you guys right now.
What's up, girl?
What you want to drink?
I don't know. You got a shot?
Yeah, what kind of shot you want?
I'll take a number shot.
What's a number shot?
A little shot at that number.
Oh my god, you were so bad.
That's the worst.
So
he should have ended it with a shot with you. Or if she wanted to counter reverse Uno card him, she should have been like, "Oh, do you want a single or a double?" Like number shot. And then she just starts making something, hands it to him, never says another word.
It reminds me of that joke in The Office where it's like, I got someone's number today. 6 more and I'll have a complete phone number. So, and then Glenn brought up, well, actually both Glenn and Carmen kind of had a back and forth talking about high school reunions. It's like, are they falling by the wayside because, we're in the social media age. Everyone knows what everyone's doing. I think it's a weird, my answer, I think it was a weird bell curve because with our generation, we were the beginning of like Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff.
Right.
So yes, like for example, I was class of 2002. We're having our 20-year anniversary coming up soon. And we are going to do something live where, we can meet up in person and just make a weekend of it. But then I think the generation after us doesn't have to worry about that because they already know where you live, if you have kids,
they could just start
your job is.
Giant group chat.
They could, but here's the crazy part. I think that's why I said it's a bell curve. The kids that are in high school and middle school now probably will need to do it because they're not on the same social media that we're on. Like Facebook is dying when you look at like young teenagers.
Right.
They're on TikTok, some are still doing Snapchat, but that doesn't give you the where are you, what do you do, how many kids do you have? So they're going to need the reunions to get back together to find that stuff out because that's the whole point of them, right?
It's just weird because I remember when Facebook came out and it was like you could not wait until your school adopted Facebook, or Facebook came out with like you could log in only from like certain schools. You could only get on Facebook and create an account if you went to a certain school and use your school email. And it was like, oh man, did you hear University of Florida just got on Facebook and everyone signed up, and it was like it was amazing, right?
So I was a user back in 2004 when it first came out, and none of my UCF friends were on there, so I had to like get a guest contributor basically for University of Florida people.
Well, the thing is, it's insane now that it has basically become just unpopular with the younger generations. Mm-hmm.
No,
Facebook is uncool.
Exactly. That's why I think we're probably going to see 30 years from now 10-year anniversaries of like the class of 2032 because they will need to get together and figure out what they've been up to. Lindsay chimed in where it's like, oh, Rockledge, Matt would know I graduated in 2002. And I'm like, so did I. I graduated in 2002 from Rockledge. Apparently doesn't know who I am.
And only one of us has a podcast now.
Yeah, take that.
Interesting.
Take that. So we have that going on. And then, we'll back pocket it for now, but I know that there's some other people making fun of you. And then Carmen posted a video about how to fold anything. And obviously with the whole joke about how you can never fold a fitted sheet. But the video that they showed some like really dumb ways to fold stuff. Someone folds a beach towel, but like in a triangle. And I'm like
into one of the little paper footballs.
Yeah.
Paper football methods.
And I'm like, that's probably the dumbest way. But the cool thing is
do you think when this lady is folding a t-shirt and for all intents and purposes, it comes out perfect. It looks perfect, right?
It's the one-step little
You're right. It just like magically comes out perfect. Do you think that you have to point to the 3 little sections like
every video does that thing where it's like whoop, 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 and then they grab it
and then they just pull and it just folded.
That's some good folding work right there.
Fold me some space time and you'll impress me.
All right.
Let me see a YouTube video of someone folding space time.
But yeah, you could always interact with us in a multitude of ways, so definitely check that out. But we did want to move on to some of the topics that we've kind of been back pocketing. One of the things that I saw, it's become a trend lately, and we're not going to try this one. We'll delve into another trying topic. But so apparently out in Utah, for religious reasons, people who don't drink, one of the new trends is to drink soda and creamer. Have you heard this one?
No. What's the purpose of that?
So again, it's to have like a mixed drink, especially with people who can't necessarily drink coffee. And again, it's primarily for the alcohol crowd. But yeah, they've been taking like Diet Coke and that liquid creamer and mixing it together to do it's the viral trend, Diet Coke with coffee creamer. Anyway,
what about? Have you ever done?
It's apparently a
staple.
staple.
What's the thing? It's not alcohol, but it makes you feel really weird. It's like kava, kratom.
Oh well, yeah. Well, there's kratom, which is like weed light.
What is that?
It's like a powder. It's just like ground, whatever.
Have you tried it?
Oh, I have not, because I might as well just do drugs and alcohol.
Might as well go for the hard drugs.
But yeah,
real weed.
it looks like one of those. Have you ever gone to like a Thai restaurant and some has the Thai tea or whatever, where it's like that creamy milk tea?
I've never had it. No.
But have you ever seen it?
Yeah.
Okay, so it looks like one of those, and yeah, they just mix it together with creamer and apparently it's creamer, Diet Coke, and a little bit of lime. So it looks almost like an iced coffee.
It does.
But it's Coke and creamer. So that leads me thinking: was there anything growing up that you
wasn't Thai Tea your nickname in high school, like Mr. T, Thai Tea?
See, it would be funny if my name began with a T. So it would be, but I don't have a T anywhere in my name.
Thai Tea.
Anyway,
Pity
but
food.
it goes back to the it goes back to, was there anything that you drank or ate growing up that was like a weird mixture that you loved? And I'm not talking about like, every kid took the soda and did the suicide where they got the little bit of all the sodas.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about like, I know there's people that do like ketchup with macaroni and cheese.
Oh.
Like they'll mix that together. I know a popular one is like steak sauce and mac and cheese. I've heard is really good as well.
It probably just like mixing mac and cheese and barbecue sauce, like at a picnic when you're at a barbecue. That I feel like just mixes great. I would straight up put macaroni and cheese on a hot dog. And you and I do that even now when we go to some hot dog
but
places.
That's not like a weird food combination. It's one. Now, I will say a weird one when we go to those crazy hot dog places. I do get peanut butter and SpaghettiOs on my, and I will say the combination of peanut butter and SpaghettiOs is delicious.
There's no way.
Lindsay against chiming in where it's like, okay, maybe not necessarily like the Diet Coke and creamer, but what if you did like an orange Fanta with the vanilla creamer, and it's basically like you're drinking one of those creamsicles.
Which for me, I've never enjoyed that taste.
See,
the flavor of creamsicle is so disgusting to me.
Well, so this leads us directly into our next one.
We were creamsicle tasting.
Move Troop, let us know, like, what are some wacky food combinations that you particularly enjoy? It's weird. You know that other people think, like, it's absolutely odd. But, like, for example, with me, with the peanut butter and the SpaghettiOs. But that leads us into the last few weeks, we've been doing some wacky taste testing. We've had, like, the macaroni and cheese ice cream. We've had...
Which we found somebody who liked it.
We found a couple of people
that
liked it.
Incredible to me.
Which was very weird. But it seems as if Taco Bell and the Pepsi Frito-Lay Corporation are always like on the forefront of wacky food combinations. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to do another taste test live on the air. This one is actually a popular thing that people have been drinking and saying it's good. It is the Mountain Dew Flamin' Hot Cheeto flavor. So it's It's Flamin' Hot Mountain
I'm excited about this. I hope it's spicy.
Yeah.
Because it better be spicy expectation wise, but I also expect it to taste disgusting.
It says it's Mountain Dew with a blast of heat and citrus.
And you have to serve it warm.
Well, yeah.
Like it has to sit in the back of your car for 5 hours.
Well, so I did chill it. And yeah, so we've tried like the Space Coke, which we didn't know what the flavor was, but this one straight up says that it's supposed to be a spicy Mountain Dew. So we're gonna taste test it live on the air. So I'm gonna try it now.
Okay.
Got some of the fancy.
I
cups.
really want it to be spicy, but I'm not gonna be disappointed if it tastes disgusting. Because I will be disappointed. Like if it tastes good, but it's not spicy, I will be disappointed.
So I don't want to speculate as to what makes it spicy. I think I have an idea, but let's taste it first. Now, let me say this. I said Flamin' Hot Cheetos. It doesn't say Cheetos anywhere on here.
It just says Flamin' Hot.
It just says Flamin' Hot Mountain Dew. Now, if it was the Cheetos and you had that little bit of cheese, then it goes back to the whole mac and cheese ice cream.
I feel like whenever we do a drink like this, thank you. Whenever we do a taste testing drink, we have to figure out what type of liquor would be a great mix with it. We should have done that with the Mountain Dews.
Nice.
Like what would have gone well with it.
So, sorry, before we try this, some of the Move Troop is chiming in about weird food combinations. Someone brought up, taking all the Thanksgiving leftovers and just putting it into one mush pile.
Making a sandwich.
Yeah, exactly. Making it a sandwich. But I kind of like the idea. There was a restaurant. They said it was called the Garbage Plate, and it was all their sides. So it was like baked beans, mac and cheese, French fries, green beans, and I can't remember what the fifth one was. But they just took all their sides and literally piled it on a plate and mixed it all together.
And that's the restaurant.
And that, well,
Okay.
That was one of the
restaurant
dishes.
idea. I'm probably stealing some of this. Restaurant idea. It's just like a cafeteria style. You go through like Chipotle style. You tell them what you want.
Yeah.
They put it all in a bowl. They're only sides, and then they mix it up. Maybe put it on. You could put it in a burrito or a sandwich or some other combination, and it's just sides. And it's called only sides.
All right. So at places like Chipotle or whatever, a lot of people complain because when they make it in the burrito, it's basically like layered. So technically, like one bite will have all the veggies, but the other bite. I've gone to a place where all of the innards of the burrito, they put it in a bowl and mix it all up before they put it in the burrito.
That's next level.
That
How
is
about
very
I've
next
seen
level.
a video where a guy ordered a burrito from either Chipotle or Moe's or something, and he knew that it was made like this because we watched it. But when he got home, he recorded unraveling the burrito.
Yeah.
And it was literally at the very right end was the meat.
Yep.
And then to the left of
always
that was
annoying
just the
when that
cheese.
happens.
But it's almost like whenever someone makes a burrito, they spread out the rice all along lengthwise
the
of the
line,
burrito.
the little cocaine line
Yep,
of rice. The cocaine.
a cocaine line of steak,
Yep.
cocaine line of lettuce, cheese,
Yep.
right? This guy.
Well, don't say lettuce because every burrito place, it's like, oh yeah, can I have a little bit of lettuce? And they do it like 5 handfuls and just dump it on.
Well-
why do they do that? Anytime you get lettuce, they always just put like,
It's the ultimate filler.
it's so dumb. I hate it so much.
So this guy must have made the burrito. On the very right side, just put a little chicken. Then to the left of that, just put cheese. Then a little to that.
Weird.
To the left of that, just rice. So it was like every bite was a new flavor, and it just looked hideous when he unraveled the burrito.
Interesting. And then our buddy Charles, who owns a lawn service, if you're in the Brevard area, hit him up for that. He says he puts ice in his milk. He goes, it's the only way he'll drink it is if it's
I
ice
get
cold
that.
milk.
Some people. First off, I don't drink milk. It's not for me.
Yeah.
But I get that the visually too. Looking at ice cold iced milk.
Yeah.
Looks appealing. It looks like it'd be very refreshing. My thinking though is it's got to taste bad once that ice starts.
It starts to melt.
You would have watered down.
So you know how Yoo-hoo isn't chocolate milk, it's chocolate drink?
Chocolate drink.
So it's made with water. So in Thailand, it's not Yoo-hoo itself, but like at the McDonald's in Thailand, they have a Yoo-hoo like similar thing, but they put it on ice and they call it like an iced chocolate. So it's on ice and it's basically like an iced coffee or whatever, but it's one of those you do have to drink it fast because once it melts,
Why
then
don't
it's
they ever
like super watered down.
Knowing this, why don't we ever have dispensers like the soda dispensers that have chocolate drink?
Chocolate drink, yeah, that would maybe just clogs up the line. Like when it dries,
Yeah,
like
it's
the
powder.
chocolate mix
Yeah.
probably gets in there. I do remember, I only remember this in hospitals. I never have seen it anywhere else, but they have the milk fountain. So like if you go to like the hospital cafeteria, you can get a glass of milk, or I guess some hotels at the breakfast places.
Yeah,
too.
those are good. No, they do
They have
the
juice
dispenser,
one,
the juicers.
but I've seen the milk ones as well.
I've never seen the milk
Yeah,
one.
interesting. All right, let's not belabor this any further. We got some flamin' hot Mountain Dew. Oh,
Me too.
I
got that.
I inhaled it and it immediately went
It's
up. Oh,
you
it
know,
is strong.
yeah, you know. Oh, and there's an after spice. You know sometimes when you're eating hot chicken wings and you just breathe it and it burns your nose spicy. Yeah, I got that as well. If you just dare me to just take a big whiff.
Oh, that's weird because yeah,
It doesn't taste spicy.
it's the aftertaste.
You breathe it and it's spicy.
Because when you drink it, you do get that citrusy Mountain Dew taste, and it's
Yeah.
like, this is like a pretty sweet taste. There's an aftertaste,
An aftertaste that's all spice,
and it lingers in your throat.
I like it. I like that it's so bold of a flavor. You can't drink this normally.
Oh, there's no way you can just be like, especially if it's one of those, man, I am thirsty, and crack
Just
it
like
open.
you're just done balling out in the basketball court, and you're like, I need a Mountain Dew. Okay, someone gets that thinking it's Code Red, and they just pop it open and take a huge chug of it. They're gonna be hurting.
Man.
They're gonna be hurting. That's a very interesting. Out of all the things we've tried, that's one of the most interesting flavors. That's not gross.
Maybe because it's the citrusiness of the Mountain Dew. The more and more I drink it, the less and less the spice is hitting me. And I'm not saying 'cause I'm getting numb, but I'm tasting more of the fruit than I am the heat.
If it was flat, if that's flat, I bet you the spice is real bad.
Oh man, I'll tell you right now, That really does hit you. And,
Yeah.
and Matt, you and I like a little bit of spice, but
Yeah.
this one, like, it came out of nowhere.
Yeah, it was very unexpected. But to be fair, I wouldn't say it's gross. I wouldn't drink it. I would never buy it.
Mm-hmm.
But I love the fact that it's exactly what it says it is. It didn't undersell. It didn't oversell. It's exactly what you.
It is literally exact. So that's not bad. Okay. In the pantheon of everything we've tried, which includes the alcoholic Mountain Dews, the Mountain Dew ice cream, the Nitro Pepsi, all that stuff, where would you rate Flamin' Hot Mountain Dew?
I mean, for something that I'd want to drink, it's not going to be up there. It's not. I would not want to drink that. Like, I would rather drink the Mountain Dew seltzers before any of that.
Okay.
But for uniqueness and like how bold it is of a flavor,
Yeah.
outside the box, that's top notch.
Okay.
You know,
good to
like
know.
everyone does watermelon. Everyone does like a grape flavor. That is completely unique. I can honestly say I've never had a drink like that.
Yeah, I'm a fan of it. Again, not a fan in terms of I want to like drink this all the
Yeah.
time, but it's not bad at all.
I would suggest anyone, if you're in a 7-Eleven and you see it, do yourself a favor, just get it, try it, take a swig, throw it out.
I will
It
say,
costs you $1.29 or whatever.
and one of our listeners, Diana, on the chat comes in. It's like that happens. The same thing, like how you and I smelled it and immediately like hit our eyes, whatever. That happens when she cooks. When she like puts some like spicy stuff, like that. When it like, I've done it too, where like I've added some chili powder and some of it like poofed in the air, and
Yeah.
I ended up inhaling it, and whoo doggy. It,
That is literally when you go to eat a chicken wing and you breathe a little bit of it, and you haven't even taken a bite, you're just like, that whole move.
yeah.
That's exactly what happened.
And then Lindsay, was talking about mixing drinks and stuff. He goes, her favorite drink is a mixture of sweet and tart, but it's not sweet tart. But she's a part-time bartender. It's cherry limeade, rum, lime juice, cherry juice, splash of Sprite, and white rum.
And what is this? What is this drink?
It's her favorite drink that she always recommends if someone was like, oh, I don't want something too sweet, but then it's got that little tartness to it. I think what would set it over the edge, like, because there are those alcoholic drinks where they do like a little splash of Tabasco and stuff in there.
I would do that.
Yeah.
I would do that. If there was some other flavor that went well with that, and this Tabasco sauce was a compliment to it, I would do that.
You know what? Okay, I'm gonna do this on our Facebook page. We need to have a contest who can come up with the best Two Moofs drink recipe. So if you were to go to a bar and be like, "I'll take the Two Moofs, please," or
It's got to be only 2 ingredients.
I wouldn't limit it to that. Now I know there's going to be a lot of like goofiness where it'll be like, oh yeah, day old milk and sponge water. Like ha ha ha. Okay, but I would say
And stink bug, marshmallow.
yeah,
and stink
exactly.
Bug.
And so I think that I'm going to give out a prize. I'm going to do that where if whoever has the best Two Moofs drink that you can order at any bar, like please like don't make it like one of those specialty drinks that like takes 8 hours. No one's going to order it. But we should start a Two Moofs cocktail and see if people can get it. The winner, I'll buy them a piece of merch.
Okay.
I'll do that.
Hit them up. Post it.
Lindsay already chimes in. Mango habanero whiskey is a good spicy mix. Jeremy comes in and asks, do you think you could use this in cooking? Like if you were to put this and reduce it a bit, do you think you get that citrusy? I think it's too much sugar.
I think you want to just use something else, like more natural than soda.
Yeah.
You
All
want to
right.
just use citrus juice and then throw a Tabasco sauce or something in there.
So moving on, Matt and I
Now,
have...
is there a way that you can make a popsicle or something out of that, or like ice cubes?
Ooh,
And
like
that
a-
would be a good compliment.
maybe like a little spicy popsicle. I could see that.
Yeah.
So
Throw
moving
that
on.
in your milk, Charles.
Moving on, Matt and I recently have been on the tail end. I know I've kind of shared, some of my stuff. Matt and I have been getting a lot of scam texts and scam emails lately. I know I shared the one with you where I was related to Saddam Hussein, and there's the other ones. I actually got one on Snapchat. Now, this happens all the time on Snapchat where I'll have a random friend request, and I'll click it, and immediately it's like, hey, I saw your profile. I think you're cute. Join me on this site.
But it's crazy. No one can ever, even scammers. How does anyone expect that to work?
You got to realize there's got to be some lonely dudes out there that are more than happy
That
to get
they've
it.
never seen that before.
So I got an email before I get to yours. I got an email from an Andrew Wynn. It said your attention required, and the email just says, "Hello, did you get the email I sent last night?" That's it.
You should have said yes.
And
Thank
that's
you.
it.
I'll respond
So
soon.
I was gonna, respond to it and talk about it on the show. But then before I could do that, they sent another email, same email address, same Andrew Wynn. Hello, I was wondering if you got my previous message. I've been trying to reach you. Kindly get back to me quickly. It's very important. So now I'm just like, that's a legitimate,
You just got to send your phone number and say, hey, man, just give me a call then. Why are you emailing me?
Nah, I don't want to get my, because then they're going to share my phone info.
Give them the 2 Moose number, bro.
I don't want my phone being bothered with that. But anyway, so I'm curious as to like, that's, normally there's like a paragraph story.
I need to send in the screenshots of the lady who was trying to buy a Ferrari from me.
Which we'll get to that in a second. But like normally they like give this explanation as to how you can get money or they need help or whatever. But the fact that this one was just like, oh, hey, yeah. Did you get my email? Like it just seems so natural that like you want to engage and participate in it, you know?
It's so like the scammers have realized the brute force approach, you got to do this, otherwise you're going to miss out, or you got to do this, otherwise you're going to be arrested, or you got to do this if you want any chance at the $10 million.
Yeah.
They've realized that that's not working. Now it's the very chill, hey, man, haven't heard from you, man. Are you doing okay? What's going on?
Yeah,
Hit me up.
exactly.
And then that like draws in, you're like, oh.
Well, there's another one that's very popular.
Let me give you my credit card.
It will lead into what Matt, you're going to talk about, but there's the, my name's Kenny, your name's Matt, and they'll be like, hey, Bill, great to meet you last night, or, like, hey, Steve, like a long time, no chat. With the intention of you saying, no, this isn't Steve, then they'll immediately go, oh, I'm so sorry. Well, hey, my name, I'm friendly. Let's continue.
That one's going around.
That happens a lot, but I'll toss it over to you. Matt, you've been inundated with one.
I wish that we would have posted it, and I just hadn't thought about it. But the other day, I get a text message completely out of the blue. Someone saying, and I'm pretty sure it was a female that sent it, just because I forget the name, but I'm pretty sure it was a female. It was like, hey, Steve sent me your number.
Yeah.
He says you have a 2008 Ferrari Spider for sale. Mm-hmm. Do you still have it? Which
is a very specific car. Like you would think it would be like, hey,
just very expensive car.
Yeah.
And I said, like, who is this? Or so, whatever it is. I don't know. But I was like,
you fell for it.
I was like, oh, Steve.
Why am I still drinking this, by the way?
But I was like, oh, yeah, man, how's Steve you been? It's been a while, something like that. And I said, unfortunately, at this point, I knew that there was either a scam or someone who had my wrong number. Either way, didn't care. I was going to fuck with them. So I said, no, unfortunately, I sold the Spider, but I do have a nice 2008 Toyota Camry convertible.
Okay.
Because they wanted a 2008 convertible. It's a convertible Ferrari, or Spider Ferrari.
Yeah.
So I was like, I have a 2008 convertible Camry, right? Mm-hmm. And they're like, no, not really interested. And I said, look, it's much more reliable, gets better gas mileage, better maintained. You'll love it.
I love that it's such a scam to where they were just like, whatever. Because if it was a real person, it'd be like, no, I was asking. Well, about
I don't know
if they're
trying to scam me, because fast forward to the end, and they never asked me for any type of information.
Because I think they realized that, okay, this guy's not going to fall prey. Let's just cut our losses.
Well, I said, look, Toyota Camry 2008 convertible, $3,000. The person says, hey, I don't need it, but if I hear of anybody who does, I'll pass your information along.
Yeah, would you know he's not?
I then immediately go on Google, find a picture of a beat up 2008 Toyota Camry, literally like the front bumper's jacked up. I send the photo and I say, look, 2,900 needs a little work. 2,900 is the best I'll do.
Yeah.
Right now. I said, right now, I'll even throw in, I said something like, I'll throw in a sun visor. The person goes and responds again like, that's a great deal. I'll let you know, if anyone needs it. A couple of minutes go by. I go, look, not to beat around, like something like not to beat around the bush, 2,800, best and final offer today.
Yeah, and you send them the Pawn Stars emoji.
That was the final one. So I'm at 2,800. They again kind of brush it off like they're not really interested. I then send the Pawn Stars guy standing at the counter, and I put on there, best I can do is 2,700.
Yeah.
So no response after that. And I don't think that they were a scammer. I think that was really someone who had the wrong number.
Well,
looking for a Ferrari.
I think that it was still a scam. I think it was one of those where it's like you talk about it and then you sell it, be like, well, hey, you know what? Are you interested in a car? Like, what if you want to do an investment? Maybe we can do like a little swap deal.
The thing is, what if I had said that I had the Ferrari? That's the thing.
Then they probably would have definitely talked to you.
I don't think it's a scammer. Because okay. If I said I have the Ferrari, then the scammer's like, they know I'm lying.
No, because if you said because I think what they're hoping for is, hey, I don't have a Ferrari, I actually have an Audi, whatever. They want to just know what fancy car you do have.
What are they going to do with that information?
Because what they'll do is be like, hey, how about this? I actually have another Spider I'm looking to get rid of. How about, we'll just do a trade or whatever. And that car is like a lemon piece of junk, and you give them your good real car. I'm telling you, man, scammers will come up with any possible scenario.
Anyway, got another scammer texting me. I will, scammer or wrong number, don't know.
Well, it was a scammer.
When I was over at your house.
Yeah, because it came out the typical intro.
Oh, yeah. This person sends a picture of a very good-looking girl saying, like, hey, Susan, it's Annie. And sends a photo of a girl.
Yeah.
And I said something to the effect of, oh, who is this? Mm-hmm. And they give me their name again. And I just, from there, I take the role of, I'm Susan. And I'm just like, hey, hey, Annie, how you been? Stuff like that. That ended, and I know this is going to sound crude for our listeners, but just to troll the trollers, she's like, hey, mom, or something to that effect. How's your mom doing? And I just came back with, show me your butthole.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they just didn't go. I am hoping that it is a scammer.
One of my friends does that, but then it's like, oh, man, I sat in gum.
We know what that means.
And you know what that, and then shows the photo
You know
of
what
it.
that means.
All right, so that moves on to a topic that you wanted to bring up about updating your iPhone contacts.
So, very big news when it comes to phones in my family. Number one, my mother just got her very first cell phone.
Oh,
My brother and I gave her an old iPhone at least a year ago.
They're going to say it's one of those jitterbugs with like the 3-inch buttons.
And it was like an iPhone 8, I think. It was an old one that I hadn't been using, and it worked well.
Did you delete all the butthole pics?
I set it to factory settings. It had the fingerprint reader on it still, so whatever version that was.
Okay.
But we didn't set her up with cellular number, so she could only use it on Wi-Fi. So she used it to text, iMessage me and my brother, FaceTime, play games, play her music.
Yeah.
Whenever she was on Wi-Fi.
Like a glorified iPod.
Correct. So the other day she wanted, finally for Mother's Day, my brother and I got her on our plan. So she's happy. That's not necessarily the story. But my father had always had a cell phone, but he is now upgraded to his first iPhone. My father is handicapped, so he'd always been using a flip phone because it's much easier.
Yeah.
We have convinced him that an iPhone would be easier for him to use. So he's now... He had some flip phone that had 200 contacts in it, let's say.
Okay.
And he put in each one of those contacts.
Yeah.
He did not know when he switched from a flip phone and ported all of his contacts into an iPhone that it wasn't going to go as smooth because it's not alphabetical.
Yep. Wait, was it not alphabetical for him?
In his phone before. He would have...
Interesting.
Here's the funny thing. I was in his cell phone as Matt Cell. Like, as in first name Matt, last name Cell. And so now it's showing up in his iPhone under... He has to go to Cell. Or something like that. Yeah,
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
And so that was bugging him. And I told him, like, Dad, I don't have a landline. Why would you even need to differentiate that I have that it's a cell number? I only have one line.
Yeah.
Just put Matt. So here's the thing. He was bitching about this, that it's all out of order. Hold on. No, this is not even the punchline yet. He's bitching about it, that it's all out of order. Contacts that he's looking for, he doesn't know how to find them because iPhone is putting him in some weird alphabetical order. That's not what he originally had. He goes, when I'm looking at my phone for the weed guy, I can't find... I used to have it in my phone as Weed Man. And I'm like, whoa, full stop. Who do you have in your phone as Weed Man?
Yeah.
He goes, the guy that comes by and does our landscaping, he's the weed guy. I'm like, whatever you do not put him in your iPhone as Weed Guy. Put him in there as Landscaper Joe or whatever.
Yeah.
Do not use Weed Guy. And he's like, when I brought this up to him, when I like confronted him about it, he's like, he literally, I could hear him over the phone stopping in his tracks. And not realizing in his phone he had Weed Guy.
Oh, your dad's sweet.
I'm like, no, first off, no one's ever going to pull you over, but no one's ever going to go through your flip phone. But rest assured, they will see weed guy, and they will not think landscaper.
It'd be funny. You go to the AT&T store, and just some part timer is updating the contacts and sees weed guy, and looks at your dad, calls the cops immediately.
Or the guy's like, "Do you mind if I take this dude's number down?" No. The guy at the cell phone place is like, "Is he good? Is he good?" And my dad's like, "Oh, he's real good, really good." Your dad, and he's like, "Can I take his number?" And my dad would be like, "Sure, man. He's a good guy. Give him a call. Tell him Bruce sent you." And then the guy at the cell phone calls him up. "Can I get some weed?" He's like, "I'm a landscaper."
No, but not even that. He'd be like, "Listen, the work he does with the plants, he is just like top notch."
He does. He knows how to cut the weeds.
Okay. Anyway, to your dad's defense, just a little bit. I've had a cell phone, and I'm not trying to flex here, since 2003. I mean, a lot of people had cell phones before that. But anyway,
I don't know how that's a flex.
So 2003, but I had like the stereotypical Nokia, the indestructible Nokia. Now, when I first started doing that, this was at a time where people did have landlines. So a lot of people on my phone, but I didn't have that big of a contact. So I would put Kyle dash cell, because there was a Kyle dash home kind of thing. But then what ended up happening was I never updated it. So as I upgraded phone, in my phone is a handful of generic people where it's like Jessica Cell. And I'm like, ah, crap, who's Jessica?
Yeah, which
Jessica? Which Jessica? Because it's so common. But it's just because that's when I started, I only knew one Jessica. So in my mind, I'm like, oh, I'll just type Jessica Cell. This is the only Jessica I know. Yeah. So a little bit of defense now that happened with your dad.
Can you imagine if there's someone out there, even maybe our age, who they just have telephone numbers saved in their phone, but they're not associated to any name? Let's just say you scroll through your contacts list, and it's just sorted by number.
That would be weird.
Like low to high number, and whoever it is just is some idiot that knows every person's number.
Hey, that could work.
By visual. That would kind of monster.
Other than your own cell phone, do you have any cell phone numbers memorized?
My brother's, my dad's. You know what? I wish I could say I'd memorized my mom's number at her home line, but I don't.
Okay. Just curious. I was just wondering.
And I know my work line because I have to say it all the time.
Well, that's true. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Okay, so let's move on. We're going to actually skip the last topic, save that for
what
another time.
What was the topic that we're skipping?
The lottery tickets as gifts. But what we got talks about that, so we can talk about that in a bit. So we're going to move on to, it's been a few weeks since we last spoke, and a lot of things have been happening in the news. So it's time for our amazing news segment. Here is what's going on.
Oh, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Yeah, what's going on? What's going on? Oh, what's going on?
What's going on? Brought to you by our amazing sponsors. Amber over at Classic Man Cuts. ClassicManCuts.com is where you can find her. Get yourself a fresh cut and shave. You can also visit Jennifer and Ashley with Her Majesty Services. Get your house cleaned, get your office cleaned. Her Majesty Services is the way to go. And of course, our newest sponsor is Declassified Cosmetics. Declassifiedcosmetics.com, not deflassified. That was something completely different. Declassifiedcosmetics.com is where you need to go for some makeup that is inspired by the spooky and paranormal. So, Matt, locally in the area, you and I had to hear a lot of news about the accident on that slingshot ride. It's not really a slingshot. It's the ride that goes up and down. Unfortunately, a kid passed away. Well, over in Indonesia, a water park slide collapsed as it was mid-ride. The portion of it, a lot of water slides.
Do you know what kind of slide it was?
Well, a lot of water slides are, either the tube, the giant plastic tube, or the giant U. So that way, if you have a raft or an inner tube, you can do in the U and all that stuff. Well, apparently a portion of it collapsed and fell, but people were riding it. So someone had started sliding, and then someone recognized that it fallen, and this person knows that they're coming up to. Well, I don't think they knew that it was coming up because these are twists and turns. You don't know that there's going to be a drop or whatever. So I'm gonna play the video right now. Thankfully, no one was hurt, but yeah, a bunch of screaming children plummeted 30 feet to the ground.
Place because we know we can say.
Yeah. I read the article. Again, injured, but they about 33 feet to the ground below, injuring 16 people who were taken to a nearby hospital. Okay. But has that ever crushed your? I mean, obviously, the fear of roller coasters is that something's going to happen.
I've always felt safe on roller coasters because I just feel like inherently it's locked in. Like there would have to be some mass destruction of some sort for it to fail.
Yeah, that's true. So
I mean, I feel like they'll break down.
So it's the video that we have. It's just a little clip because obviously it's not as if someone knew what was going on. They just were, filming for the day, and this is what they have. So you can see that chunk just completely collapses, and then you can see that there are bodies and like the tube just completely falling.
Yeah, it doesn't
below.
To be honest, it doesn't look 30 feet.
Yeah, but still, but you can see like just bodies just like tumbling.
You say
down.
bodies, but let's just say. When you say bodies, you're talking live.
Oh yeah, they're live.
They're not.
I never once implied that they were dead.
No.
They are physically bodies.
I feel like say these kids are falling.
Well, but we don't know that they were all kids.
Individuals are falling.
Anyway,
when you say bodies, I feel like that implies.
It does not imply that they're dead. Mm-hmm. No, it doesn't. So that was a bit tragic, but thankfully that they're okay. But that's why if you ever
So when the lyrics say. Let the bodies hit the floor.
Yeah, but that's completely different.
We don't know if they're alive or not.
No, but in the context of the song.
But it's the opening to the song.
But if you listen to the rest of the song, you know what bodies they're talking about. I told you that this was going on. All right, so we talked about wacky food combinations. Well, Tropicana has decided, hey, we want to get into the PR game. There's always...
They're coming out with a chicken sandwich.
That would be funny. So you've heard the stereotype where it's like, man, if you run out of milk with your cereal, like don't pour orange juice because it's going to be like nasty and disgusting.
Oh, yeah.
But you're out of milk, so that's the only thing you got to do. Well, Tropicana said, nah, we're going to make a cereal specifically made for orange juice.
I think, okay, right before you said that, I was thinking what kind of cereal would go well with orange juice. I'm thinking like a Fruity Pebbles type deal.
Well, but see, here's the thing. I think that would be too sweet. It'd be too sweet, too fruity. So it's going to be
too sweet, too fruity. Tokyo Drift.
Yep, it's going to be Tropicana Crunch. It's a cereal that is meant to be poured with OJ. It's going to be honey almond clusters that will taste the best in a bowl of orange juice. And it's a legit thing.
Tropicana Crunch.
Yeah, Tropicana Crunch, and it is specific cereal made for OJ. So it'll be orange juice with a little bit of honey almond flavor to it.
I would try it. I don't think that's going to taste good, but I would try it.
All right, well,
I mean, there's no way it's going to catch on. There's just milk and cereal is locked in like peanut butter and jelly.
Okay.
You're never going to say, no one is ever going to come along and say, grape just ain't doing it anymore. As a society, we're going to switch to something completely different than jelly.
Interesting.
Peanut butter and something else from here on. No,
right.
That's never going to happen.
So, Matt, what is your favorite video game of all time?
Ooh, that's tough. Of all time?
Of all time.
It's probably got to be like Mario, one of the Mario 64, Mario, Super Mario World. I don't know.
All right, I would probably say Super Mario Kart for the Super Nintendo.
Yeah,
is a good
that's
one.
Solid.
Well, there is a World Video Game Hall of Fame. It's been around for about 10 years now, but they've inducted the latest inductees. Now, this is for groundbreaking games, so it's not all of them are old. Not all of them are like whatever, but here are the new inductees. You have Ms. Pac-Man, Dance Dance Revolution,
okay,
The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time.
Okay,
that was a 64.
Ocarina,
and then Sid Meier's Civilization. One of those old.
So you know what? SimCity got to be. If you have Civilization on there, you got to have SimCity.
So the other finalists that didn't make it were Assassin's Creed, Candy Crush, Minesweeper, NBA Jam, Parappa the Rappa, Resident Evil, and Words with Friends.
Those are all great games.
Yep. So I was.
I don't consider those video games though. Words with Friends, and then there was another one that
Candy Crush.
Candy Crush, I would say it's a video game.
I think Words with Friends is because
Words with Friends. I wouldn't say it's just a game. It's you know what it's a tabletop game that's played virtually.
So if you and I busted out a Nintendo and we played chess or checkers on a Nintendo, that's not a video game.
I wouldn't say it's a video
game.
Okay,
so you're
just playing it through a different medium.
I was looking at it's been around since 2015. Here's the inaugural class of the World Video Game Hall of Fame. You have Doom.
Oh yeah,
Pac-Man. Pong, Super Mario Brothers, Tetris, and World of Warcraft.
Oh yeah,
Those were the inductees.
If I were to look back on what I've probably spent the most hours wise playing any game over my entire life, I mean, you're gonna have things in there like Halo. You're gonna have things like I played Overwatch and Warzone lately, but nothing. When I say nothing, will compare to the amount of time I've sunk into World of Warcraft back in my law school days.
So some of the other ones that are on there: the Oregon Trail, The Sims, Street Fighter 2, Madden Football, obviously is up there. Solitaire, Microsoft Solitaire. Mortal Kombat, Super Mario Kart, King's Quest, Bejeweled is another one that they did there, and then last year, Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego was on there.
If they brought that back, if they updated that, they could make it difficult and challenging for adults. Like if we were to play it now, like if we were to go back and play the version that they had now, we would murder that game. It would be so easy. We know where everything is.
Yeah,
I feel like our geography skills are so good. Well, compared to what was on Carmen Sandiego, easily.
All right.
If we can find a Carmen Sandiego emulator or something, let's try it.
But here's what I'm going to do, though. I'm going to find out for the next show. I'm going to find some geography facts that came directly from Carmen Sandiego. See if you could pass them. See, because it was always tough because it would be like, oh, I heard he exchanges money to the dollar. And it's like, well, crap. Like 10 different countries use the dollar. Like what they call the dollar. So I think it's a little harder than you think, my friend.
Let's find it.
Okay.
Find the questions.
So we move along from our.
Did you know that there was Where in Space?
Yep.
Carmen Sandiego?
There's Where in Time, Where in Space, Where in the USA. Don't test me on this.
Yeah. I'm not testing you. I'm like, have you played these?
Oh, yeah.
I remember playing
Where
in Space was challenging because you had to know which. Like I know that it asked questions.
Of each planet.
The moons of each planet, like what planets or moons had certain craters. You know, like this one's for the moon, but if they were like, if the clue was like Tranquility Base, you got to know that was the moon. You know, Where in Time was Carmen Sandiego was very fun though.
Nice. One of the thing John brought up, Winn-Dixie John, Mega Man, specifically Mega Man 2. Is what he did. I think Contra would be another one that I
Sonic
played
should be
a
on
lot
there.
of. It already is. I didn't read every single one, but okay. So we move along from what's going on to another favorite of ours. This is our moof of the week.
Oh, what's going on?
Wrong intro. This is what happens.
Never done that one.
It doesn't happen when you don't do a show for a while.
That's a first.
I know, man. I was so confident in playing that too. I was so like ready to go. All right, guys. Here is our moof of the week.
Just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber.
You are so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
You little stupid and wow.
I want to say move for the week.
You little dumb and wow.
Livingston's hair is gradually becoming more and more gray on his head and his ear. He's now developed gray ears, and he's not old. And it's only on his head and his ears.
Interesting. For those of you who don't know, Livingston, a.k.a. Alf, for those of you who might be listening. All right, so when you were growing up, when the internet was first around and you started typing into stuff, did you accidentally, and not intentionally, I'm not talking about like you intentionally typed it in, but have you mistyped a URL and it took you to like a porn site?
Oh, yeah.
Sure. So I remember this in middle school. We were doing like a stock market game where we would have to pick stocks and do like a simulation kind of thing.
I was trying to start a lemon party.
Anyway.
And that didn't turn out too well when you went to that website.
So we would type in and to check in on our stocks, we would put like, the New York stock or the there was two of them. There's the New York Stock Exchange, and then there's NASDAQ.
Yep.
But we accidentally typed in NASDAQ instead of NASDAQ. We typed in NASADAQ, and that took us to a porn site. And this was back in like the late 90s to where they intentionally did that. They would find common misspellings of websites, buy them to take you to a porn site. We got in trouble because obviously the teacher saw porn, and it's one of those where you're trying to click out of all the pop-ups that kept going on.
There's just no way. Your life is over.
But that was, of course, in the early 90s, so you would think, hey, that sort of thing doesn't happen anymore.
A good place to see, if you just very interestingly wanted to see meat spinning around, you would go to meatspin.com. It might be .org, though. Have you seen that one?
Well, an Ohio school board voted to censure a member on the Ohio school board and called for her resignation after she accidentally posted a link to a porn site on the public Facebook post. Now, she was trying to do one of those things where it's like, hey, I want to make sure that our school kids know about safe sex and sex education and things to propagate. So you know what? On my Facebook page, I'm going to post a link where students can get some...
Her personal page.
Yeah, on her personal page, like where, hey, I want to be able to, get kids educated on safety of sex and stuff like that. But unfortunately, it was the wrong link, and it took every student to a porn site.
How bad was the typo? Was it a legit typo, or was it like, no, there's no way?
Here's the thing. I was scouring the web trying to find what she typed and what it was supposed to be. Can't find it.
You might have to use the Wayback Machine.
Well, on a Facebook post, though? I don't think
on
you
Facebook?
can do...
No, maybe
That's
on
what
Twitter.
I'm saying. It's a Facebook
If it was Twitter,
post.
that might be a little bit different. Yeah.
But yeah, it was one of those, she's had a lot of issues, apparently, this lady. So I think that's why they're calling for a resignation. But apparently...
They're like, listen, Karen, when you accidentally sent out a virus to all the parents on accident, we overlooked that. When you accidentally deleted all of the test banks for the entire county, we overlooked that. This is the final straw.
Well, here's what was crazy. It was from Lakota School Board. They did an emergency meeting. They decided by a vote of 4-1 to censure this person. The lone vote to dissent was the person. Like, how are you going to let her vote in her own, censuring? Like, is she going to be like, yeah, you're right, I should probably be fined? Like, who's going to allow that? Of course it's a 4-1 vote. Anyway, that's our moof of the week. But yeah, thankfully, and when you're posting something on Facebook, I quadruple check because I don't not even for bad links to go to porn sites, but if I did misspelled your, or you know what I mean, or it's apostrophe T, T apostrophe S, I always quadruple check to make sure that no one can make fun of me for anything. But this person just click, tap, porn site. All right, good contribution. All right, so we're going to move on to...
Sometimes you have to be careful when you... has anyone ever been like, send me your control V right now? Your control paste? What is it? I can see that. On your phone or on your computer. Like when you were on... I remember being on AOL Instant Messenger. Yep. And me and my buddies would be like, send your control V right now. And it would just be something completely random. It could be like an eBay listing. It could be some random comment that you were just spamming people with. It could be your way message.
Could be.
But it was send me your control V right now.
That would be good. We should do that. Make a thread as to what the control V is.
Just everyone right now, send your control V.
I like it.
It's like send me post your last photo in your
some it's like,
no
album. Cheating, post your 23rd photo.
Yeah.
And it's like you have to count back, whatever.
Right.
All right, so let's move on to our final segment of the evening. This is what everyone loves. This is the favorite topic.
Everyone loves it.
For this one, no real connection to it. I just happen to enjoy the song. It's an oldie. I went classic. I went to the 60s for this one. Okay. I know I've done Elvis Presley before, but I wanted to make sure that I get a good variety of songs. I think you'll know what the song is when the chorus hits, but you may not know it initially. So, ladies and gentlemen, let us all take a listen to the theme song for Matt's Lonely Thoughts.
Is this stuck in the middle with you?
He's in bed at night, just bored by his TV and phone. He's a baby, won't eat fruit. He's never prepared, but still as hypotheticals. Let's find out what it is, move true. Lawyer, he's so lonely. Here are Matt's lonely thoughts. Please request a sticker online. He's lonely. Did I mention he's a lawyer? It's time for Matt's Lonely Thoughts, and we really want you to buy merch.
Hey, it's a happy-go-lucky, feel-good song for you. All right, Matt, what's your lonely thought?
I'm looking for it. Just kidding. All right, say you are, when I say trapped, not say you're locked in a room with 50 other guys, right?
My dream. What?
What topics undoubtedly are going to come up in conversation if you're stuck in there for 24 hours?
Okay.
What are guys going? And we're going to do the same for women. What we think would come up.
So there's always the stereotype whenever there's random guys at a party. So, for example, if you have a significant other and you're brought to like one of their friends' parties or something, or like a baby shower or something, where you don't know anyone except for really your girlfriend or your wife or whatever.
Okay.
There's always the thing where it's like, oh, I found another guy, and there's always going to be three things that they talk
openers.
about.
Okay.
Well, not necessarily openers, like three random subjects.
By the way, before I get called out, I found this literally on Reddit like 2 weeks ago and saved it. So no one say shit.
So there's, and again, this is very stereotypical. I'm not saying it always has, but sports.
Yes, sports.
Random sports conversation.
Yep.
Weather. I think.
Yeah, weather is it's awkward. You probably start off with that. Like, oh, where are you from? Oh, the weather there. It's always usually cold or something.
Not just that. Let me say this. So I think that's two. And then the other one is, what do you do for a living?
Yes.
And then you talk about that job. And you do it where like you ask questions about their job where you're almost interviewing them. And that kind of almost goes into like the where are you from? Not necessarily for the weather. I was really talking about like the current weather in the area. Mm-hmm. But like, oh, you're from Cincinnati? And then you either say, I've never been there or I have been there. And then you start talking about your past experiences. So I think those are the three. It's the current weather, sports, and then interviews about the other person.
That lasts an hour. Okay. Let's say that's the surface level that's going to pop up for sure. Okay. Are we going to, or are guys going to talk about, they're going to talk about the girls that they've dated? Right. Oh, yeah, I dated a chick that was like this or that,
But see, how would that come up? No, you know what I mean? Like, at least with sports and weather, you can be like, oh, let me acknowledge something that's happened and let's branch off of that.
There's going to be TV shows they're going to talk about. Guys are going to eventually talk about, like, hey, you ever seen Breaking Bad?
See, that one I can see. But, like, the girls in relationships, I don't think that's going to be one of them.
Cars. I feel like guys are definitely going to bring up cars like, the gearheads, so to speak.
Yeah, again, if we're talking stereotypes, I can see that.
Games, video games.
Yeah, potentially.
What games do you play? Hey, who here plays, like you said, World of Warcraft, Warzone, Candy Crush, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So those are the very surface things.
Yep.
Or those are getting deeper.
Yeah.
Do you think anyone talks anything more... I don't even know how to.
Like on a deeper level.
Yeah, on a deeper level, more serious. What would be a deep a topic that guys would ultimately end up at? Maybe near the 24th hour, and they've been stuck in a room together.
You actually bring up a good point. We were on the Semantics podcast with Samantha and her husband Travis, and you and Travis just clicked on all of the boring.
This was 30 minutes into the show, like maybe known the guy for an hour. We start talking about taxes.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So if you're talking about like random boring, but I'm sorry, random in-depth stuff, it's not going to be something like talking emotions or mental health or anything like that. It's going to be talking like taxes and mortgages and stuff you've done on the lawn.
Oh,
and
I
like,
got a guy that gave me this
insurance.
Yeah, I got a guy that quoted me this for my, lawnscaping.
And then it'll delve in. It's like, hey,
I got a weed guy.
Yeah. And then it's like, if you actually replace your light switch with a dimmer, you want to make sure that you get a 24 circuit. You know what I mean? And you'll start getting a lot of depth. Yeah. So I think that's going to be it.
So in 24 hours, 24 hours, guys are not going to open up to anything real.
I'm not saying that. Mm-hmm. I'm saying if you were to look at the pantheon of things that we talked about, I would say feelings and emotions would be start towards the bottom. Now, I think if you're talking 24 hours, it will be brought up. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying in terms of like, yeah, man, I cry at night. But I think
they're not going to be sitting around, in a circle going like, all right, who's next?
I think it's going to be one of those where inevitably then they'll talk about it's like, let's say you talk, I've never been to Cincinnati before. Oh, yeah, my wife and I went to Cincinnati. We got in a fight, and we were trying to figure out this, that, and the other.
Do you think guys that have kids will be talking about, oh, yeah, I got a son, he's in T-ball. Oh, yeah. You think they're talking about kids?
Yep, I think they'll talk about kids. And then, again, that's when you're going to start getting, like, the emotional, in-depth stuff is when they talk about it's like having to discipline your kids or, like the...
But can we agree that that's probably going to be more towards the end of the 24 hours?
Once you get more comfortable with someone, you will be. But the very beginning, it's going to be, what do you do? Let's talk about sports,
think politics
weather.
comes up?
Inevitably, yeah.
Someone's gonna make some small little comment.
Yeah.
That shows their political hand.
Correct.
Their
Yep.
leanings, and it's just going to
because
divide.
again, well, like for example, you and Travis were talking about taxes. Now, it didn't delve into that, but inevitably, someone's going to be like, my taxes went up because of,
can you believe this and that?
or exactly, or it's like I have this political stance about taxes. And that will inevitably get to the politics. But I think you're safe. If you're talking about a 24-hour period, you could probably go a good 3. Well, now, you say 50, and that's going to be hard because technically you can have 30-minute conversations with 50 different people about those surface-level sports,
right.
weather.
Yeah, because the average really would be 30 minutes, just under 30 minutes per person. Now, if you're talking in a group setting, so
I think the trick would be 10 people. I think if you're talking about a room of you and 10 guys or 10 total guys, that's when you're going to start getting, because if there's 50, you could avoid any deep topic and just go to a different group and do surface level talk.
Yeah. All right. So skipping ahead a little bit.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna speculate what we think women would talk about. Do you think they would bring up? Do you think a group of 10 women would bring up taxes? I would say probably not.
No. Again, it may be brought up much. So let's use the ratios here. Guys to emotional, vulnerabilities, let's say as a topic, is the same ratio or opportunity as women and taxes and insurance and, real estate. Unless someone happens to be like a realtor or something like that. But I'm just saying in a general sense. So I think that's going to be your thing. Same thing with I don't think that women's surface level would be sports. I think women will. Again, this is just speculation.
Yeah. We're okay. I feel like we should put a disclaimer out there. We're completely speculating. No idea.
So clearly they're going to talk about their panties and probably their periods, and then
that's so
they'll do pillow fights and tickle fights.
That's definitely not what's
I think
happening.
They'll probably practice making out with each other for a while. So I think because the stereotype is that women are more visual, I think the surface level stuff will be like, hey, I really like your shirt, or, oh, where did you get those shoes? You know what I mean? I think that's going to be that visual, visual response.
Yeah, the initial couple hours, the surface level conversation, I imagine they're going to do, women would do the same, oh, where are you from? What do you do?
Exactly. Or they're going to be...
skip over sports.
I don't think it's going to be sports, but I still think where are you from and weather. Those are the two universal
Married,
ones.
are you not married? Any kids?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I think so, yeah.
That'd
probably a bit more on the kid and family talk than guys.
Right.
Let me say this. I think females will talk, because if we're talking like the shoes and the stuff like that, and I don't, not to sound stereotypical, but I think they'll also probably talk more about what they do, like as hobbies, more than guys would. Now, if a guy's really passionate about woodworking, he'll go on and on about woodworking. But I don't think, I think women will talk more and more about what they do, oh, yeah, on Wednesday night I do this, or, on Sundays, blah, 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 as opposed to guys who would be like...
Yeah, like, this is what me and my family will do.
Correct. Or just me and my friends or whatever. Yeah. Whereas guys, I think, will be more like, I like this, the end. But girls will get more detail about that. I think TV shows and movies will be another universal one that females will talk about.
Okay, so I would say if there was a guy in the guys group, that was, going through a rough time in their life, I think we can agree the vulnerability chances of being vulnerable and opening up to that is going to be very slim. What do you think the chances of, if there was a woman in the women's group who's going through really rough time, of her opening up in 24 hours to a group of 9 other women?
I think that could definitely help. Now, I will say, it also depends the type of guys that you have. I think in 2022, you're probably going to find a lot more guys that will open up about that if they're going through something.
Yeah.
I don't think it's just going to be like, okay, minute one, go and be like, hey, I'm going through a divorce. Like, I don't think that's going to happen. But
Raise your hand if you've been divorced.
But I think it's one of those where it's like, hey, you're right. Women will probably bring up issues more, but I think the propensity that guys will do it is there as well. Some people, chimed in. Marissa was like, "Well, why would you ask about their job? That's not really it's not really a conversation starter. It doesn't define them or whatever." But I'm thinking, well, yeah, but
I know that would be one of my go-tos. I'd be like, "Hey, man, my name's Matt. What do you, hey, what do you do?" hey man, yeah, like what?
But see,
what do you
you're
do
right.
for work?
It doesn't define the person. But what if they have an interesting job? I want to know about their interesting job. You know what I mean? Like, or what if I have a question that pertains to that job?
I'll say this to her point. I may not necessarily care all too much. Like I have to know that information. I think it's more of an icebreaker, social, icebreaker thing that could lead into more conversation and questions. I know that when people tell me like what they do for a career or a job or something, I always end up asking questions like, hey, let me ask you something. When, if I met a, gosh, I don't even know. If I met a garbage man, I don't know. And I would probably just say, hey, let me ask you a few things. Is it really that bad? Hey, is it as bad as people think it is, or what's the worst part of your job? What's the best part? Because I'm always trying to like understand things, just get a little bit of taste or an understanding of what I don't know.
And you can break down stereotypes too. You know what I mean? Like someone finds out you're a lawyer and then think you're money grubbing ambulance chaser, and then someone like
to that point, if someone asks me what do I do and I say I'm a lawyer, a lot of times people will say, hey, is it really true that like if you ask a cop, an undercover cop, you have to tell me you're a cop? Is that true? I get tons of people that ask me some random like legal myth, urban myth. And that's somewhat of a question I can answer for them.
It's weird. Like when people come up to me and they find out like just who I am, they're like, "Oh my God, you're Kenny." Is it true? It is 12 inches.
No, they're like, is it true Matt really doesn't prepare anything for the show?
That is true. So Marissa, who, funny enough, again, Declassified Cosmetics, makeup inspired by the spooky and conspiratorial. She goes, her go-to conversation starter. Do you think Bigfoot's real?
That's solid.
Yeah, I think that would be hilarious. Just get like, because
what's funny?
In a group of 10 people, there is going to be the one weirdo that just goes around asking wacky questions
and is just completely open about all of their weird
and his
things
name
that they're
is
into.
Kenny.
What's funny is at a dinner we were playing Two Truths and a Lie, and it was my boss's turn. And one of the things that he had brought up was, which one of these things does he not believe in? And one of them's like aliens, ghosts, and Bigfoot.
Ooh.
And it was just it's just a very easy, straightforward, two truths and a lie. Which one do you not believe in? And like he had a really good point about Bigfoot. He's like, there's no fucking way Bigfoot's real. He goes, aliens, they're if real, then they're so technologically advanced. There's just no way we're gonna like catch one or necessarily see one. Ghost, you're never gonna have the technology to prove it. He's like, Bigfoot is just an animal, man. He's like, it's got to die at some point. There's got to be some evidence, some bones, some fossil, something by now that we would have seen.
So you know how they use Bigfoot as the mascot for Jack Link's beef jerky?
Yes.
So I was doing a show with Shaquille O'Neal, and that was one of the sponsors. And what they did was it was supposed to be an arm wrestling match between Shaq and Sasquatch. So what it was going to be, the whole gimmick was like, Bigfoot's going to win the first match, and then Shaq's going to be defeated, so he eats some beef jerky, and then he wins the second match. It's going to get down to the third one, and then they wrestle, and then the table's supposed to collapse and explode. So we rehearsed this, and we did it over and over, and all Shaq had to do was like kick the leg of the thing, and then the table would collapse. So because the whole thing, they don't want to make Shaq seem weak, they don't want to make Sasquatch seem weak, so like that. So we do it live, and the whole thing happens. He eats the beef jerky, he wins the second match. The third match comes, he kicks the leg, and the table doesn't collapse. And so he keeps kicking at the leg, and the table's not collapsing, so it just looks like he's having a seizure.
You guys didn't do like a trial run of this?
No, I said we did. We did it, and it worked every other time, but when it actually happened, he kept kicking
So he's just like, I'm sorry, I have to beat you now.
No, so what they did was they improv'd, and they like let go of their hands and just did the whole shoving thing, and then Shaq tipped the table over, and that's how they covered it. But I just thought of all the things that could happen, because again, he just looks like he's having a seizure, like kicking this leg at the table, and it's not like collapsing at all.
Meanwhile, whoever is in the Sasquatch costume, he's like, I might win this one.
I could beat Shaq. All right, guys. Well, thanks for let us know what your conversation starters are. I know we talked about stereotypes with men and women, but what is your typical go-to conversation starter if you had to do it? Because I know there are some people that are just like, I don't want to talk to anyone, even in a group of 10 people.
We could have really made a crazy switch and said, if you were the lone guy in a room with 10 women, what would your opening conversation be if you were stuck there for 24 hours? And then conversely, we could ask our female viewers, if you were stuck in a room with just 10 random guys for 24 hours, what would your conversation?
If it was opposite?
What would you the one stand out? Not an even mix, because then it's two. Two. That's too easy. This is it? Or do you feel like a fish out of water? Essentially, if let's say you're purposely put in a fish out of water situation. Not saying that you and I would be uncomfortable in a room full of women by any chance, but it's like purposely you're in an uncomfortable situation. What is your go-to, conversation starter?
Yeah, and let me say this. There are some people that, like, hey, if you're a guy and it's like, I'm just way more comfortable hanging out with females, and vice versa. There's a lot of females like, I'm just more comfortable hanging out with guys, so it's easier to come up with those topics. Yeah. But let us know, guys. That was episode 65.
65.
I've been having to burp so bad, but I don't want to burp because it's going to be that.
It's going to be fire coming out.
Yeah. It's oh man, what cartoon was that when someone burps and it's fire?
It's like any Looney Tunes.
Yeah, that's right. When they like eat like the spicy pepper or something.
Tom and Jerry, anything. You eat something hot, fire's coming out.
Okay, so one more hypothetical before we close out the show.
We need another song if you're gonna do hypothetical.
All right. Kenny got a big old dick. All right, there you go. So because if it's Kenny's greatest thoughts, that's one of the lyrics. So if you were to have any cartoon ability, and I'm talking about like just on the physical ones, where it's like, let's say you,
I know what I want.
Like you get flattened and you can pump yourself up.
I already know what it is.
Okay. I think the one I would want is if I get excited over something, I want my eyes to go like the and like
a lot of people would say I would want to, the good one. Let's say runner up.
Yeah.
Honorable mention would be when you start running, you want to be able to run in place,
place?
Just slightly above the ground.
And then you leave like the little dust cloud behind you?
No. I want, if any type of projectile is coming towards me, I want to be able to keep my head in place, but move my entire body rubber band style, left and right and left and right, as cars are going by, as bullets are going by. Just totally rubber band manning Fantastic Four, Mr. Fantastic.
That's not bad. I don't mind the one where like if a part of you gets flattened, you can just like take an air pump and like bring it back to life. I also like the one where if something heavy falls on top of you, you start accordion like springing to life. But you don't just accordion spring to life. It actually makes the accordion noise. I'm very impressed with that.
We got to make a list of all the cartoon, like, I wouldn't say there's superpowers, but there's like cartoon physics.
Yeah, cartoon physics.
You can't fall until you look down.
Yep. If you get blown up, all that's going to happen is just your skin turns black and your hair just points straight back.
Ashes. Yeah.
And then, but your hair is straight back. That's the only bad thing that happens when you get blown up.
What other cartoon physics might there be here? I think we went through them all, man. I'm not gonna lie.
That's it. No more topic.
All right. With that said, I say good day.